Welcome back once again to Root Access, and do you have the fever? New product fever.
I got it. I'm coming down with it right now.
First Olympic fever. Now every month it's a new fever. So in the last segment we talked about the iPod Nano, the 4th gen iPod Nano, some of the issues and concerns that our brethren at the Apple Store will have with those behind the scenes. So give them a little extra patience if you're working with that. Some of the other announcements, we had the iPod Touch. It's the funnest iPod Apple's ever made.
That's what I hear. Well, I mean, as far as what you get now with the iPod Touch, I mean, not a huge jump.
Right.
But I think it's great. I mean, I don't see why you would buy like the classic iPod now, unless you really need that space. The fact that you can do so much more with the iPod Touch, you know, it's a web browser, it's a communication device, it's a game player. I still think, not to sound like a broken record, I still think it's a little overpriced.
I agree.
I don't know why it's, what, $220? Why not $199?
More than the phone. Still more than the phone.
Yeah, I don't really get that. But it's great. I mean, I think they're great announcements.
And also, along with the iPod Touch, iTunes 8, you've been giving this a spin. The first thing I noticed, the new layout with the album art.
Yep.
It's one of those deals where, again, it looks like two interfaces are on the same thing. That looks more like the Aperture or the Professional, and then it's inside this box, which is the. I mean, just pick an interface.
Well, I don't know who actually browses their music that way. Nobody does.
Off immediately.
Well, the funny thing is, when I first installed it and I launched iTunes 8, by default that's the interface with all the album art. And for some reason, I was thinking that you couldn't switch it back to the list view, and I was kicking myself for upgrading, and then I realized, oh no, you can go back to the list view.
It takes two versions for them to take it.
Yeah, but. It's kind of like CoverFlow. Who uses CoverFlow? I don't know anybody who does.
If you do, let us know. Send an email to root@thedigital.
It looks great though.
TV.
Looks slick,
but do you use it?
No.
I don't even really care for CoverFlow on the phone.
No.
Do you use it on the phone?
No. Nobody uses CoverFlow. It looks beautiful, but nobody uses it.
And the dirty little secret is maybe you don't even have covers for all your music, because not everyone gets their music through the iTunes Music Store. But
the Genius playlist builder thingy, pretty cool. I mean, it's a really quick way to just build a playlist. The one thing I thought was a little strange is how the Genius on the phone or on the iPod software is not really connected with the Genius on iTunes application.
Oh, really?
So I assumed when you built the Genius playlist in iTunes, it would just sync over to your phone, but it doesn't. You have to hit create Genius playlist on the phone. Not a big deal, but The
thing that's interesting about that, so on the phone, I haven't used it on the phone yet. Does it do the thing where it suggests songs from the store as well, or doesn't do that on the phone?
I haven't seen that. Yeah. No.
Okay, but you do have the music store on the phone, and there's something else. Does anyone use that? Have you ever, other than to try it?
Just one time to try it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this gets me to one other thing, kind of related here. When you were at the bar, did you ever have people come in who, for whatever reason, lost their music library?
Yeah,
that they purchased from iTunes. And what's the story on that?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, if they don't have it backed up, they don't have it somewhere else, we would always, give them the analogy, well, if you bought a CD from Best Buy and you left it in your car and someone stole it from your car, unfortunately, it's gone. So you would need to repurchase it. Now, we have heard of cases where if you complain enough to Apple Care or whoever in Apple, they would issue maybe a credit to re-download some things, but that's not the official policy.
It's kind of a one-time only thing they can do to let you into them. But here's what I don't understand. I don't get why on the phone with the apps, it's perfectly fine to keep re-downloading the same apps. And I was discussing this with a member of our staff earlier in the week as to, I might be more inclined to get into digital video downloads if I knew I could always get it back. It's one thing to buy a DVD and you have it versus putting it on the computer and knowing I spent $14 for this movie, and if my drive crashes, it's gone. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Microsoft with the Zune does offer like 2 or 3 downloads. So if you delete it a couple times, you can re-download. I think that's probably coming now that we've seen it with the App Store. Either that, or maybe they're just going to go to like some sort of subscription model that they've been sort of dodging for a while.
Maybe it'll all be through
Mobileme. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Mobileme, yes sirree. What about Mobileme in terms of people who come to the bar? I mean, there's not really any tech advice you can give with Mobileme, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I was there and it was .Mac, I mean, the unfortunate thing is .Mac doesn't offer, and same thing with Mobileme, doesn't offer any sort of phone support. It's all done through the web and through email. I mean, people would forget their passwords, and we would sometimes assist them in trying the web interface to, you know, I forgot or whatever it was called.
So you're basically walking them through the internet steps.
But there's not a whole lot we could do, and there's not a whole lot AppleCare does, and the good thing this service is free. Oh, wait, it's not.
Never gets old. Every time, never gets old. So there you have it. You've got new iPod Touch, thumbs up to that. iTunes 8, Genius is neat, but there's not a whole lot else there, really.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I put a quick post about this on the blog, is do we really need a big announcement for these sort of, do we really need an event? Could we just have a press release and just
upgrade?
Yeah.
Does everything now warrant an event? Which again is ironic because Apple wanted to get away from having to time everything to events.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit of anticlimactic, but
there you go. Let us know what you think, and also we'll be getting back to your tech questions. We did want to cover the new announcements this week, though. Send those into root@thedigital lifestyle.tv, and we'll talk to you next time.